Great to have you also there online, everyone. I won't go through the complete index again. As you can see, the program here consists of a brief market update, several cool pitches from bots, Bittik, Superscript, and Ergomania, and a brief preview on the Techstars program coming up. And of course, we'll then rate the best pitch and go to drinks right here all together. And that's a teaser for all of you at home to actually join us next time in person. So let's get going to not waste too much time. Let's see if the clicker still works. That doesn't. Could I get a next slide? Yeah. It's also one thing or the other, right? So there's one thing that should not work. Now, just 2 slides to introduce Holland FinTech for the people that are new. We're an association that actually tries to bring together parties that are willing to drive forward financial innovation. That can be from any kind of perspective, because we do not discriminate by kinds of party or where you're from. But we do want to see that parties are actually really making an effort to figure out how financial services should evolve going forward. And of course, making good use of technology doing that. We have around 300 organizations now as members, and we try to actually educate everyone, make them connected, and help them collaborate in a good way. And that's why we go by the label of connect, learn, and innovate. That goes for basically all the parties that are part of our network, as well as all the key stakeholders that we see around us, like policymakers, regulators, universities, investors, advisors, lawyers. We believe we all need to work together to actually understand where the market is heading, how technology, consumer behavior, and regulations, for example, are actually changing the game, and figure out how together then shape financial services. I definitely invite you all, if you're not so familiar with us yet, to check out hollandfintech.com for more information about what we do. Just double check if I'm still audible online. Yes, clicker works. Then we'll continue to the March overview of the news. What happened last month? Of course, after the Ukrainian invasion, we've seen that actually a lot of fintech companies had to work with that to deal with sanctions on one hand, and on the other hand, we actually saw that there was a really big effort by a lot of organizations to make a positive impact. So we've seen actually a lot of parties that were supporting new aid programs, like the People for People program, which was set up by Bank, Picnic, and what's the other company, MessageBird. So I think you already see, and those are just it's a tip of the iceberg of, I think, a lot of initiatives that there were. Should you be interested actually in ways of supporting Ukraine, go to our website and type in Ukraine. You'll actually find a lot of resources about where you can support, help in any kind of way. There was, of course, also some other news. We saw that Temenos collaborated with MasterCard, really nice one. We saw, again, a partnership with Visa. So I think these are 2, I think, examples of where the big card schemes are collaborating with tech companies increasingly to expand their reach out into the market. We've seen, of course, as well, that there's a lot of initiatives that are trying to actually fight these traditional payment rails. They want to set up independent rails and get rid of the MasterCard and Visa schemes. But at the same time, these 2 guys are collaborating with anyone and everyone to figure out how to maintain their dominance. What's interesting as well is that Apple is going into the fintech play. They're really key. They've been collaborating a lot with fintech players, and they're now trying to bring that all in-house. The same we actually see as well with Amazon, for example, recently, who's also now investing heavily in fintech through their whole program. I think it's interesting to see that these bigger tech players are seeing fintech as also a really big angle to basically get more grip on what their customers want, and be with them, not just on the part of the advertisement where they're very strong, but actually be with the clients up until the transaction that they pay for it. Well, and interesting as well is that Boost in Asia is because the first investment firm, basically fintech investment firm, that's got an A1 rating, which I think is quite important, because very often you see that smaller scale or the aim of the market actually gives much lower ratings. Ukraine, in the process of the war, actually legalized Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to enable people to make transfers much easier than before. Also quite an interesting move that happened in March. On the same hand, you actually see that the European Union, who at some point actually thought about banning Bitcoin because they found that the proof of work way of basically securing Bitcoin is too energy intensive, right? So they, from an environmental perspective, they believe it's a too big impact. So they were actually thinking about banning Bitcoin because of that. But in the end, the European Parliament voted against this. So that's why it didn't happen, but it was a tight one earlier in March. On the other regulatory level, we saw that Biden was very heavily involved as well, and he signed a crypto order to come up with new legislation across the US. And one of the things that people are expecting there is that also, especially the AML requirements, so anti-money laundering requirements for crypto, are going to go up in the market. Well, another one I think is just a brief one. There were a lot of reports coming out in March about how 2021 actually turned out for fintech investment, and we saw that at least there was no slowdown due to COVID whatsoever. And also in the first months of 22, actually, we saw that funding kept on a very high level. And one last one, I think is an interesting one. Two of our members coming together, Mobile Expense, also known as, they partly also acquired Declaree recently. Those might be a familiar name for you here. And they partner now with Bank to facilitate household, basically SME finance in a broader perspective. So these are just some of the highlights of things that we picked up over the past month. I hope you'll find that useful. Then we'll just go to some of the larger funding rounds. Globally, we saw Cross River Bank, Acorn, Stacks, Clearbank, and Lendable raising some big funds. Largest one here on the 580 million. I think you'll basically still see that there's a lot of large investment rounds going around. I'm really curious how actually the big inflation rates that we're currently seeing and also volatility in the stock markets, whether that's actually going to impact also these large valuations that we see on these unicorns. In Europe, we've got Jeeves, Lunar, Moonfair, and Finery, who are the largest funding rounds. Slightly lower in the amounts, right? 160 million as the largest one, but still Europe is catching up quite a bit compared to the US and Asia. And the Netherlands, always to close it up, we had one funding round in 3 that got funded by Finch Capital with 10 million. Intri is a buy now, pay later company based in the south of the Netherlands. Well, buy now, pay later, of course, is quite a, let's say, thriving part of the industry at the moment, as payment firms are structurally trying to look for additional value that they can deliver to their merchants. And one of the ways of actually doing that and strengthening conversion is actually by offering financing. Then on the research side, right, so if you might recognize this if you haven't seen this before, that if you read our newsletter, we actually follow the same sections. So if you actually want to stay up to date, not just on a monthly basis, but on a weekly basis, I would recommend you to subscribe there. And so we also gather research reports that we think are valuable and give interesting market insights. And this was one by one of our recent members, Provenir. They did research into the requirements for data for credit scoring analysis. They're basically an AI-based credit scoring company. And they said that, one of the hardest things that companies find out when they try to do credit ratings is that the data is not easily accessible. Other reasons that they give why they might not actually deal with data that much is there are not so much alternative data sources available. So they are stuck with a limited set of fixed data sources, and it's hard to get a centralized view of data across the whole customer cycle. I think it's quite an interesting report. So you can find these reports if you go to our website, Insights, search for research, and you'll definitely find this report as well. Then we always have the opinion and analysis section. Here we have just two quotes, which I think are just nice ways of describing a little bit the sentiment in the market. Even though we didn't talk, we should have, of course, included something here about Ukraine. But if you're interested in that, I definitely recommend you to review the event that we did this Wednesday, where we had both a speaker from the Ukrainian FinTech Association, as well as Intellias and Levy9, describing how they actually currently work with their staff in Ukraine, and also discuss quite some of the support programs that are available. So it was quite a nice one to actually connect I think the communities between Ukraine and the Netherlands. And that is becoming available on our website as well to completely review that session. Checking with Michael, is it already available, the video, or not yet? Not yet. Okay. No, we'll share it and it will be shared. Yeah. Yeah, the Ukraine video. Oh, it's available. Okay. Yeah. So you can check it on our website or on our YouTube channel. Then I'd like to wrap this part up. So as you can tell here, my voice already has done enough, almost. Now I'll be back with you to moderate in between. If you want to stay up to date, please check out the newsletters. And then I think it's time we actually start listening to some cool companies and hear what they're doing. Oh, this is part of plan. All right. Are you getting Michiel available? Michiel? Just check. Oh, you're here. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Come forward. Yeah. Sorry. You silently moved in here. Good to see you again.
In real life molecules.
No, exactly. I was looking for a screen again, like I spoke with you this morning already. That was very nice conversation. So that's again, in any case, the call. If you want a deep dive of this pitch, listen back the Flash Friday session of this morning. And for now, Michiel, the floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. How to do this? A pitch? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, about 4 years ago, 3 guys, me included, started bots. And we were investors and entrepreneurs. And we had a purposeful goal. And out of this grew bots. And we are now live, 1.5 years approximately. And what we do, we are an investment app that is a platform, mostly crypto, but we are incorporating all asset classes, but it takes a bit of time. And what we do, when we say platform, we say we have the customer on the one side that gets a crazy, simple, nice app. I always think of my mama when we decide, is it understandable? Is the UX on pace? And on the other side, we have these real high-tech guys, our community. We call them bot creators that are the best quants, know how to make the best algorithms. And so they come together and they form our community. And what happens, 90% of our long-term customer makes money by trading, mitigating a lot of risks. So this is what we made. We are now live 18 months, 1 million downloads, 150K daily customers, 130 people employed, more than 30 different nationalities employed, almost 50% women. And we all do it for a goal. We have a purpose, and the goal is to democratize investing, democratize a second income. I found out, my dad, and I come from this left-wing family where you have a job and you pay for your pension. And in the Dutch national pension plans, I have to say, the collective pension plans, only 1/3 is paid by the employer and the employee. 2/3 is money made on the markets. So this system, investing, making sure that you set a little bit aside, makes people actually rich. And rich is maybe not the reason why, but security, sending your kids to college, having a nice last few years of your life, or a lot of years of your life, that is a huge goal. So not just Western people, but everybody we want to include in investing. And now only Western people have access to investing. Only about 500 million people, 400 million people have access to stock investing. And there are a bit more there, right? So we miss 6.5 billion people. Our goal is not to reach 6.5 billion, but first we stick to 1 billion. And then we have this champagne bottle opened up. This is my pitch. If you have any questions, FAQs, please ask me.
It's a really nice, nice way of actually describing your goal. And I think the ambition, as you said it, to actually go for a billion users, I think that's quite major. And the fact that you do that through financial inclusion, I think pretty daring, but very nice goal to look after. What is the next step that you have to take to get there? And this is just to give the audience the rest a bit of time to think about their question coming up. But so what is the next big hurdle you foresee in actually coming to the billion?
A hurdle, I don't know, but the next step is building the community even grow it even larger and give it more tasks. So we more than being a company which has some owners and shareholders, we want to grow to a community that shares. And I think that's the best way. It helps us grow the product, but our product is already a platform, and the platform will more and more turn into a community. That's the big next step.
Yeah, I think it's really nice because it appeals both to users that want to invest as well as to tech-savvy people that want to create algorithms, right? So I think that's a very nice balance. I think that you strike with the platform.
It's amazing that we last we had this a boy. He was 18 years old and he's from the Philippines, and they said, well, we have never seen that code. We've never seen that trading skills. So of course, normally they come from Morgan Stanley or GP or Goldman Sachs, whatever, but they just are everywhere. So that's crazy good.
Cool. Really nice. Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
The name has Stockman. Is it a coincidence your name has Stockman? Is it a destiny?
Well,
good question. Yeah.
Shall I give you the honest question? There's a typo mistaken there. So they put the C in there, so it looks like stock. This is not accidental. This is inaccidental. So my name is STOK. So no, it's not incidental.
Yeah.
How your bot is different from hundreds of trading bots which are available in the market?
Also a very good question. Well, first of all, we have the system. And the system is very, very low latency. So it means it's very, very fast. And we fiercely test the bots. So it's very hard to get on our platform. And that's for security reasons. When it underperforms, we take it away. So basically what we do, we have now about 360 bots on it. And all the new bots need to outperform average. And every month we take away 2% of all bots. More or less, it's not. And so the whole bunch just grows in terms of risk return rating. I do have to say we started with trading bots, but of course we also do savings, so fixed income bots like staking or savings, and we also now started to include real estate, Dutch real estate, also other, and we cryptonized it. So bots is not just trading, it's a smart thing you can invest in.
Thanks, Michiel. Any other question here at the moment? Yeah, Allard.
Great to see that you guys are doing so incredibly well. Where are your customers coming from mainly? Is there all over, or is it kind of specified somewhere?
I wish it was all over, especially on the fiat to crypto part. It's a lot of work. It's really difficult to do it properly. So that takes a lot of time. We now are live in 35 countries. We aim for about 100. We call it 101, but about 100 countries. And well, yeah, we have a team to make it happen. Without you could, for example, implement credit card, but then it costs you 5 or 6% per trade per transaction. So we don't go that road because it will probably ruin our name and reputation. But yeah, we're already at 35, mainly Europe.
Thanks, Michiel. I think it would be good to wrap up at this point. So let's give Michiel a very big hand here. Thank you, and look forward to for everyone else who wants to talk to Michiel, of course, afterwards during the drinks. I think that's great that he's available here. Please go to menti.com if you haven't done so already to check out, to give a rating about Michiel's story. It's really nice to be able to hear what you thought about him. Oh, we have a question online. Yeah, I think that let's do that question, but then I think the rest we need to go in afterwards to connect that. Is it okay? Yeah, just the payment for order flow. What's your thought on that, Giel? And so for the people that don't know that, that's actually when a broker actually gets a fee for every time he sends clients to a certain exchange.
Well, it's a complex discussion. I think if you're transparent and you actually can contribute to the liquidity, it's a good thing to do. We see for example, in DeFi, in the DeFi world, we see automated brokers who do it. You need a lot of liquidity, So it's a way to do it. I think it's very important to be transparent about it. We use different systems, but I'm not necessarily. Let's say it's a nuance thing.
Okay, tough question. No, but I think it's indeed tough because you already see that, for example, across Europe, the regulators are also thinking differently about this, right? In Germany, it's allowed. In the Netherlands, it's not allowed. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear that it's a tough subject. So thanks for taking that, Michiel. And indeed, for the rest of the questions, we'll try to pick them up a bit earlier, but I also want to keep the pace in. So again, just check in with menti.com and use this number to give a rating for Michiel, and we'll also ask that for all the other pitches. And then I think we're ready to go to hit it, if I'm not mistaken. No, we don't have a click. Yes, hit it. Yeah, I think it's going to work. Let's see. Yes, there you go. Hidde, well, good luck and enjoy the pitch, I would say. Talk to you later.
Thank you very much. All right. Nice to be here. My name is Hidde Koning, and today I want to take you through beyond traditional open banking. Before starting that, first of all, I've got to say it's fantastic to be back. Don, thanks for hosting once again. It's nice to have a physical meetup for the first time in long. Probably most of you know what PSD2 is, what open banking is. I'm just going to keep that very, very short, but basically it is about transaction data at a consumer's bank account, which can be retrieved, which can then be enriched by companies like, for example, Bittik. And in the end, a proposition is made available to either a consumer, think of a personal finance app, or to a company, think of a credit company that wants to do credit scoring based on transactions. Now, where are we there? Recently, Don, I heard you in a podcast say if we talk about open banking itself, it has not really taken off. And if we look at traditional open banking, how it's seen, I think I agree with you. What really is going to make the difference and what I want to talk about today is what is the next step after that classic open banking? What is happening in terms of open finance? If you look at the Netherlands, the market where we are active right now, I think the most common open banking propositions you see, aggregation, personal finance, fintech apps, it doesn't really work here. And why is that? In Holland, we got 4 major banks that cover 90% of consumers. If you have 8 APIs connected, you have 100% coverage. So aggregation in itself, bringing together those different banks into one platform doesn't really have value in itself. If you look at personal finance apps, the banking apps in the Netherlands are relatively well developed. If you look at other countries, we have apps of ING, of Rabobank, where you can see your spending, where you can do easy payments. So where in the US, you see these large B2C fintech companies that really fill a need. In the Netherlands, there is not that much need for it because the banks already have that part covered. However, there is a lot to be done. And that's what I want to take you through today. There is in the Netherlands a lot of regulatory pressure. There is a financial sector that is really innovative. And there is a social duty of care for which companies which you would not normally imagine to start in open banking are also looking into. So as Bittik, of course, we do open banking. We are able to do categorization for transactions. We do that for some banks in the Netherlands as well. However, what I want to show you today is a couple of use cases that go beyond the traditional side. Starting with KYC and acceptance. There's a lot of companies that offer products like loans, like leasing, mortgages, rent, credit cards, products that the consumer needs. For that, they need to deliver information in order to get accepted for that specific product or service. And what we bring with Open Finance is the connection to the bank account in order to retrieve data, give insights to it, and have then, in the end, the company decide, is this a client that I would want or not? To really find the right match that is not based on questionnaires, it's not based on gross salary amounts, but really based on the exact financial situation that the person is in. So assessing someone based on what they're actually worth. Next one I want to take you through is how you can integrate not only account information, but also payment initiation into an application and connect it to products and services that, for example, an insurer or a pension fund already has. So starting from an app, you can make sure that transactions are loaded in there. You can bring enrichment beyond just categorization, but take it to a free to spend on a daily basis. How much do I have left to spend until the end of the month. And if there is money left, make sure that there is engagement, sending push notifications in a way that someone actually realizes, hey, there's something that I can do with this money. And then make sure that it's integrated with a payment initiation method. So via PSD2, you can also initiate payments and link that directly to the pension or investing product that this company already has in place. So going beyond just retrieving account information, but integrating it into existing product lines, to existing channels, really allows value propositions that go beyond just the classic stuff. And lastly, and I think that really has to do also with the situation currently at hand, energy prices has been spiking. And what we see is that for a lot of people, especially in lower income classes, it's extremely difficult to pay the rent since prices have gone up so much. So there are social housing corporations in the Netherlands which say, okay, we want to help these people, but we only want to help the people that actually are in the most dire need. So we're working now to a pilot with a housing corporation where we actually analyze the real situation, where you can see, hey, my grocery spending has gone up. I need to pay more for my energy bill. Assess that, and then the right people can get the rent reduction, which they so desperately need in order to stay alive. So in order to get this done, what are the requirements? That is actually what Bittik does. Hey, you need, in your data models, you need extreme configurability. You can only do that if you really understand what it is that your customer needs. So you need to understand what data insights they need. You also need to understand what they don't need. So not provide them with a rigid data model, but really think along with them, what insights am I going to provide? You need the tickets to play, of course, PSD2 license, ISO certifications, that kind of stuff is all required in order to offer this, especially to the larger companies that have high requirements. And lastly, it's not just about providing that tiny piece of open banking. That on itself is a difficult proposition, as we've seen. However, you need to integrate with the right partners in the ecosystem. Have people that work, for example, we partner with parties on the front end to actually build the applications. We also use a lot of governance sources. So for example, tax data, government data, combined with the financial picture that we can provide, that is what really provides value. So making sure that you're not just on your own providing open banking, but providing broader open finance propositions, that's what's required. So great to be here again. Nice to talk about Bittik a bit. I will see the people here. Would love to talk at the bowl, and the ones online, please find me on LinkedIn. Looking forward to connect.
Thank you, Hede. Very well done. Give him a big hand already. So I think indeed the open banking environment in the Netherlands is quite a challenge, right? One of the things I'm especially curious about is how do you see the consent actually going from a customer side perspective, right? Because I think actually to be able to use open banking, you need the consent of the customer. How do you see that evolve at the moment with your solutions?
So right now, the consent has been seen as something very difficult. Someone needs to give access to an account. Why would I give my transactions to anyone? And that is if you look at it from the point of view of having to share data. If you look at it from the point of view of, hey, there is a proposition or there is a service or there is a rent reduction that I really need, it's only logical to do something like it. And actually you see that the consents that you give via your banking app are the lowest barrier way possible to do this. Because if you, how often would you have to send a transcript of your transactions actually on paper if you want to get a credit card? So this thing is already happening, but actually it's being digitized now. And especially for the longer term, if you think about personal finance solutions, there you see that you need to refresh your consent every 90 days, which was a recurring thing. We see now actually this week, the EBA has released new guidelines, and actually the 90-day term is already going to 180. And so there is being thought of how can we make this more workable. Now that also the first use cases are really starting to come in.
No, exactly. But did you see a large drop off after 90 days often when people had to renew their consent?
Actually, not so much. It's that is not in itself the thing that makes people drop off. So you see, of course, always happens. I think you've had in your app as well. You get 1 million downloads, but in the end, how many users really become active? It is a moment where people that aren't active anyway decide to not renew, which is okay actually. Because of that, you also don't need to spend any more time on them. What you see is actually that the ones who do really use the service intensively, they connect multiple accounts and they keep connecting them back.
Yep. No, super. Thanks. Any questions here in the audience or perhaps online, Elsa, if you have any? Anyone here? Yep.
Is the market focus only in the Netherlands, or you're looking outside Netherlands as well?
Yeah, we've started here. We were founded in 2017, actually ahead of PSD2, and this is really sort of our home ground, and where you see that really the experience with how do you work with financial institutions, how do you get a regulated service online, how do you interact with data with customers. That's essential to have. We've been having that basis, and we're now actually looking abroad. So we've been in talks with parties in Germany, Switzerland, France. Those are the markets that we focus on mostly, and we've been starting actually for this year to expand. So the base is here. What we do outside of the Netherlands, we say we're not an aggregator. There's a lot of parties doing that stuff, and we're not going to connect 1,800 banks in Germany. We really spend our resources on how do we optimize these data insights, how do we create new propositions that work. And so we are active in those countries and actually already actively building these models that are also functional for the German language or the French language.
Yeah, so you typically then collaborate with other platforms that actually might want to take this aggregation role to just gather the data, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I said, I mean, in the Netherlands, we decided we're going to connect our banks ourselves because it's only a handful and you're done.
Yep.
But indeed, when going abroad, we've got, actually, we connect with multiple aggregators and we pick the one that works best with the proposition. So the flexibility that we offer on the consumer side and to the client side, we also do it on the supplier side so that we are always able to provide the best fitting solution for that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thanks. Thanks, Didi. Yes.
Two questions. First from John, can you tell us something about your traction? What clients have you signed up yet? How many accounts you have connected? And then we have another question, if you can add some details on customer engagement.
Yeah. Thanks,
I
Elsa.
believe, thank you for the question. The exact details, I think we can definitely speak about later. But for example, in the Netherlands, we work with our market focus is really on not necessarily the pan-European companies, the largest one, but we really pick local champions. So we work with Achmea, largest insurance company in the Netherlands, which has, besides insurances, they have a lot of different type of propositions. So for example, the case that presented about investing based on a personal finance situation is what we do with Achmea, but at the same time, they also have a real estate company within the group where they are looking at, okay, how can we accept people with the right income for the right rental apartments? So that's the kind of company we work with. We work with Knap for their consumer app, personal finance categorization. ICS, largest credit card provider in Holland. These are the type of companies that we work with.
Yeah, quite an impressive client base. So well done. Any last questions from the room? I'm not going to ask you, Sir John. All right. Oh, yeah.
So what's your end goal? When are you very, very happy, let's say in a couple of years, 5 years from now?
Well, definitely, we're going to be all over Europe, and what we see actually provides the most interesting value is always being sort of at the edge of innovation. So actually not being done when you say we've got this amount of customers, but when open banking started, it was about we actually started in 2017 with an app. Literally where people could connect their accounts and we would show them where their money was spent. And we transitioned that to a business to business proposition just in open banking. And we've expanded that now to, okay, how do we incorporate partners to start providing even broader services? So for me, it's really about, okay, how can we continuously innovate and find actually the borders of where innovation is happening? And so loyalty is something that we really want to get into. If you can actually prevent people from having all these different cards, but just connect up their account and you can see exactly where they spend and what kind of benefits they can get. That's awesome. But governments as well. How often do people get stuck in unfair situations? If you can just provide in one overview the financial situation of this person, can really help them further. So always trying at what markets are new, what product things are new. That is what we're continuously striving for. And I hope that we're still doing that in 5 years.
Yeah, great. Thank you for your question. And let's give you a big hand, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, please find a seat. We've got plenty of seats here. Welcome, welcome. Very happy to see everyone here live. So we're great that you're here. Are we going first to Hugo or to the Kahoot quiz? Elsa, you're the chief. What's first? Hugo is here and he's online. Okay, Hugo, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, then definitely we'll happily give you the floor.
Perfect. Shall I share my screen so I can go through the slides?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Right. Let me know when that is coming up on your side.
Yeah, we don't see the presentation screen, but we see a slide.
How's that?
Yeah, looking better.
Looking better. Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to join me today in introducing Superscript. And apologies, I can't be there in person. Hope to make it to future events. Just to introduce myself, first of all, my name is Hugo Balfour. I'm a solutions manager with Superscript and head up our new business area for the fintech sector. So Supercert is an insurtech broker that specializes in arranging full suite of commercial business insurance for technology firms and fintechs across Europe. So at the moment, we're just over 100 people strong across the Rotterdam and London office, and have gained recognition as being one of the fastest growing fintechs globally and being the first insurtech to be granted a Lloyd's broker approval, which is a great accolade. I suppose going back to the beginning, our founders started the business to tackle the challenge that insurance hasn't really kept up with the new generation of digital businesses, that a lot of products on the market lack technical insight. So at Superscript, we're kind of aiming to rewrite the rule book when it comes to what you should expect from your insurance broker. So why choose Superscript? Firstly, as an insurtech, as opposed to a more traditional insurance broker, we have technology at the core of the business, and we're able to automate a lot of our internal processes to make it more efficient. So through low-touch proprietary systems and processing, it means we can spend more time with you, the client, but also more importantly, we have a lower cost of per acquisition for customers, which allows us to be more commercial when putting forward quotes, as we can pass the savings we have onto you. In terms of kind of being a specialist, we understand fintech, we understand the exposures that you face day to day, and importantly, we work with underwriters that do as well. This enables us to get specialist fintech products, which have been designed to cover the exposures that are commonly faced within the industry. I suppose giving you more time to face growing your business and scaling your business, and I suppose leaving the risk to us. From a capacity standpoint, as we have access to both the Lloyd's market and the open market, enables us to arrange very high limits of insurance if required. We're also able to arrange cover on a global basis. So whether you're just focusing on the domestic Dutch market or have already embarked on world domination, we can help you with that journey. And finally, it's very much an advice service. So we have a very experienced team on hand to help you guide you through the process of obtaining terms to meet regulatory requirements, to meet contractual requirements, or just to cover your activities. So just touching on the products I mentioned earlier, this is an overview of one of the kind of the fintech products that we'd have access to. As you can see, it consists of a variety of different pillars, ranging from professional indemnity, directors and officers cover, cyber liability, theft and crime insurance, and general liability. We've also developed our own PSD2 product, which is in conjunction with an A-rated insurer in London. This is exclusive to Superscript. It's available online and it's very quick and easy to arrange. From I suppose a market perspective, we work across a variety of different verticals within the fintech ecosystem. On the one hand, we work directly with fully authorized, directly regulated entities, but we do also cater for unregulated firms that operate within the space, who potentially provide more of an infrastructure or software solutions, maybe in conjunction with a regulated entity. Here on the screen, you can see a snapshot of our core areas, and we've recently established a dedicated digital asset function that focuses on helping crypto firms and blockchain firms across the ecosystem with their insurance requirements. From a portfolio of client standpoint, it ranges from startups, scale-ups to unicorns. So again, we're very well versed in working with firms that scale quite quickly. So we can make sure you're not overpaying for insurance, but I suppose more importantly, you're covered effectively for your activities. Here's an overview of our process. Usually we like to have a face-to-face meeting, obviously not possible, unfortunately, in COVID times, but where we take the opportunity to understand your business in as much detail as possible, your activities, your roadmap moving forwards, and then we can advise what covers we'd recommend having in place to cover your regulatory requirements, your contractual requirements and your exposure. If you're a more established firm, we're happy to carry out a free review of your current insurance program, advise if there are any gaps in coverage, and if you're potentially overpaying for insurance. But at the same time, if you have a fit for purpose product, we'll be transparent in saying so. From them, we'll reach out to kind of a number of different specialist underwriters to obtain terms. And once we've got feedback from all of them, we'll put forward the most competitive and comprehensive policy for your needs, running through that in a quote presentation. And then from there, if you're happy, we can bind the insurance. We'll keep in regular touch throughout the policy period up until your renewal. Here's a snapshot of the team. For every client we work with, you have a dedicated account manager and solutions manager with the full backroom staff on support for any claims or any questions that come through. And finally, just wanted to provide an overview of some of the clients that we work with within the fintech ecosystem across Europe. At the moment, we're fortunate enough to work with some of the Holland fintech family already, some really innovative companies there. But it goes without saying, we're really keen and interested to see if we can help others within the portfolio. And in aid of that, we're happy to put forward a bit of a discount of 10% on first year's annual premium. Thank you very much for your time. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Hugo. Let's already give him a little hand. Just to get well done. And indeed, nice to see you as well that you have a link already here with Bittik. So probably we can ask for live references here in the audience. So that's nice. So I think you've been speaking a lot about your offering, right? So I think maybe from the development of your organization yourself, where do you stand? So what do you see things moving forward? Are you still investing heavily in technology as well? Just curious a bit about your path forward.
Yes, so we're headquartered in London. We started there and moved and opened up our office in Rotterdam, I suppose the middle of next year, and became regulated in June. So the next step's really about pushing on towards our Series B, which is pushing on with our European expansion. With the investment, we're going to continue to invest in the technology, as that's a big differentiator for us. And we've got lots of exciting kind of products in the market, which are on the cusp of being released, hopefully in the next couple of quarters. Yeah.
Okay, great. So are you also heavily investing in the sort of things like open insurance or embedded insurance, right? So do you see that these are the big buzzwords, I think, in the industry at the moment? How does that work for you?
That's definitely on the roadmap. But I would say in the longer term, I suppose for us, and the next step is really to get a good footprint within Europe, and I suppose develop a good partner, customer base there. We operate across the whole of Europe, and we've already got clients in the Nordics, and in Germany, and in the Netherlands, and in the Benelux region. So yeah, it's really just to push on from there.
Great, thanks, Hugo. Are there any questions here? Yeah.
Hi, nice to virtually meet you. What is your biggest challenge to expand in Europe, let's say, in the next 2 years?
So I suppose first of all, the biggest challenge was Brexit. Apologies for that, didn't hold it against me. But I suppose it's just building out our client base. We've got a very good reputation with firms in London, but it's just about mirroring that in the European market, and building and kind of further relationships with the insurers out there. We've got a wide array of insurers that obviously specialize within the fintech space in the London market, but it's more, it's all about getting more options in the European market. So we have more variety on that front as well.
Clear, thanks. Any other questions here in the room? Yep, go ahead, hit it.
Yeah, very nice to meet you, Hugo. Hey, I'm interested. I mean, I think we signed with you about a month ago, and I wasn't personally involved, but I'm curious. What is actually your go-to-market? How do you reach your prospective clients? It worked with us. I don't know exactly how it went. You did something well. So I'm curious. What is that? What is that super marketing strategy do you have?
Well, it's a combination of approaching, I suppose, consumers directly within the fintech market. We're part of a lot of fintech groups in the London market, so I've got a good reputation. A lot of the clients we work with are referred from other clients, which is really helpful. We do also partner with kind of a number of law firms, venture capital firms, compliance consultancies, who obviously have fintechs out there helping with to go through the regulatory process of getting their own approvals and permissions. And we partner with them from I suppose a trusted insurance advisor perspective, so we can help add additional value for them and help them put the relevant insurance in place so they can gain their approvals with the regulators.
Great, Thanks, Hidde, for your question, and thanks for answering. Well done. I think we're through the questions. No online, right? Okay. Well, thanks a lot, and let's give him a big hand again. Well done, and thanks for joining. And definitely looking forward to see you again next time in person as well on our next event. So thanks for now.
Thanks.
Well done. Then Elsa, shall we go to the Kahoot quiz at the moment? Okay. Oh yes, yeah. On the Menti, if you probably still have that open, please use the same Menti as before, where now the question should pop up what Hugo's pitch was like. So please give him a rating as well. Yeah, I think Hugo's still pinned. Okay, yes, I think we're live. So to join our pub quiz, please go to kahoot.it and use the pin 3156624. That's basically, that will allow you to enter in our competition, which is a nice way of testing your fintech knowledge and get a bit of competition going, of course. I'm not sure if the QR code works. It might be a bit shiny here, but you can try. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now we have a larger QR. You could also use the QR code if you want to get in. Otherwise, it's kahoot.it 3156624 is the game code. And you can fill in your name or use your company name or any kind of imaginary name. That's all up to you. Just keep it decent. Crypto Bros. Nice. You also get the sound there. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we've got everyone in. Just give you a little bit more time. Just checking there. Elsa, do we see, is everyone online also able to check in? Okay. No problems in any case. Okay. All right. I think then we're about ready to start. All of you here were able to log in. Then I think we should get beyond the QR code and get started. All right. Here we go. And just remember, answering fast gives you more points. Which fintech company did Apple acquire in March? Was it Credit Kudos, Monzo, Digit, or Remitly? So if you look in your app, you'll see the color that matches the right answer. And that's the one code you should actually give in. And the faster you are, the more points you get. So that's how we differentiate and how you actually might be able to win, even though you have the same number of right answers. It was Credit Kudos. It's a social credit scoring company from the UK that was acquired by Apple. Really interesting, actually, how they match that up and how credit scoring is now also becoming part of Apple's business, I would say. 15 of you got that right. So I think most of you indeed had that already in mind, but the questions will get slightly harder going forward. So let's see what is that. We now get the intermediate score. If we go next. And we see there that DJ did best at the moment, followed by Hidde and Jan Willem. So you'll see the score. And so the differentiation here is based on the timing. So keep your eye out for that. Let's go to the next question. Which fintech firm becomes the first fully digital financier to secure investment grade in Asia? So which firm got an investment grade in Asia? Was it Clyde, Boost, Riskified, or Spring Labs? Which one got an A1 risk rating? Let's see if everyone got that. I think this shouldn't be the hardest one. Oh, it was still tough, but 12 of you got that right. It was Boost, indeed, as you might have heard in the monthly fintech overview. Does it change the score? No, DJ has been paying attention very well, so he is on top of the game. But we still got some questions to go, so no worries. You can move up. Next one. Which technology ban was under debate by the EU Parliament? Was that the proof of stake, proof of effort, cryptography, or proof of work? Which type of technology for cryptocurrencies was under debate? Proof of stake, proof of effort, cryptography, or proof of work? Well, the crypto people would find this a very easy question, I would say. And this was still kind of tough, apparently, but it was about the proof of work algorithm that is currently underpinning the Bitcoin. So that was under debate for the extensive use of energy, right? That it actually uses for all the calculations. What happened here? Snoopify was able to take over. Pretty interesting. Let's see what happens next. Next question. Which country had in March announced legalization of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? This should be an easy one for all of you. Was it Ecuador, Georgia, Ukraine, or Cameroon? Which country legalized Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in March? And of course, the ones who know it might know that Ecuador was a bit of a trick answer in there because they actually legalized that late in 21. So that's why probably some of you still had that as a good answer, but most of you got it right. Snoopify still on top. Yeah, but Wesley is actually coming up very nicely. So I think that's going right. Let's see what the next question has. What is the name of the Ukrainian support initiative by Bank, MessageBird, and Picnic? Is that one for all for one, people for people, people for Ukraine, or Ukraine for Ukraine? This might be a tough one, but I definitely recommend you to go to peopleforpeople.info, where they've actually listed all their initiatives to collaborate. Yeah, tough question, I think. But in any case, I definitely would like to support that. So that's why we give a bit of extra attention. They're doing some really nice things on helping the Ukrainian people, refugees, as well as sending support to the country. And if you want to check out these, please go to the Holland FinTech website, where you can find an overview of all the support initiatives. Liz actually moved up here. Really well done. Nice. A nice streak with 5 correct answers. So well done. Let's see what the next questions have in store for us. Which part of financial services in some places is considered to circumvent sanctions? Is that asset management, cryptocurrencies, open banking, or insurtech? I think most of you got this right. It's indeed cryptocurrencies, especially Singapore is coming down hard on cryptocurrencies for circumventing the sanctions law. But also in Europe, the debate is very strong about whether cryptocurrencies are actually not an escape way for oligarchs, for example, to actually move money out of the country, out of Russia. All right, what happened here? Liz still going strong. Yes, indeed, with DJ and Snoopify still closing in. It's a tough battle, but let's see how it goes. Next question. What is the largest challenge for credit risk strategy according to Provenier's research? Is that data that's not reliable? Is that privacy regulations? Is that data that's not easily accessible? Or synchronization of data across platforms? This might be a tricky one, but if you've paid attention on the March overview, you might remember what the right answer is. It was on the research graph. It's that data is not easily accessible. Yeah, most of you got that right, so well done. Let's see if that changed the score. Oh, Liz moves down a bit, but DJ back on top. Curious what it'll be. One more question to go, I think. And we got people in the waiting room. Which European fintech company entered into a strategic partnership with Mobile Expense? This is also one of our overview in the news. And for the ones who know it, Mobile Expense used to be known partly as Declaree. And it was Bank, indeed. Again, they've been very much in the news recently, not even to mention their current fight with the Dutch Central Bank over money laundering technology. But most of you got that right. Well done. So now we're curious to see, of course, who won this. Who is indeed the biggest fintech connoisseur of today? Number 3, we've got Liz. Well done. Number 2, Wesley. Also well done. And the number 1, really curious, DJ. Well done. Congratulations, Dikan. Nice to be here. Of course, we'll give you something nice on the road for joining us and being such a big fintech connoisseur. Of course, you read all our newsletter. Do you have any comments? Maybe thank your mother.
Yeah, thank you for raising me and educating me. Yeah, thank you very much. It's really appreciated.
Thanks. Well done. Well done. No, so really nice. And then of course we've got Andras already standing by for a nice story about how you actually should do UX in financial services, right? Yes, indeed. Very much looking forward to your talk. Please come forward. We got a mic for you. Yeah. Can you just click
So,
it?
yes.
Other way around.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Okay, hello everyone.
Good luck, Andras.
Thank you very much. I'm Andras Schunk, CEO and founder of Ergomania Digital Product Design, and we are a UX firm providing UX, UI, and service design services for fintech companies and banks. And basically, when we are developing or creating design for fintech companies, we are splitting up our process into 3 phases. It's called discover, define, and design. In the discovery phase, basically we are focusing to understand user needs, mostly with user interviews, and understand the business goals to reshape and provide products aligned with that. And afterwards, in the define phase, basically we create the flows and processes for these applications and websites, and basically we shape the functionality. And in the design phase, we create wireframes, we are testing them to be aligned with the business strategy and with the user needs. And these tested wireframes we design at the end phase. And oops, no. Okay, so it seems working. So basically, we are operating all over Europe. With special attention on Netherlands, but we have clients in US up to Singapore. And our most known clients are, for example, like Rabobank, BNP Paribas, Fortis, or KBC. So we are working with big organizations, but also we are working with small fintechs as well. And apart from profit-making activities, we are members of several fintech associations. Poland Fintech is not a surprise for you, but we are working with Fintech Belgium, Hungarian Fintech. Also, we have close ties with Austrian Fintech. And also, we are mentoring Fintech startups in several countries with Startup Life and KBC Started. And we are sharing UX and service design knowledge, not just through mentoring, but we are holding Fintech UX meetups, and we are planning to have our next one in Amsterdam in September, aligned with Amsterdam Fintech Week. Like just some cases about us, that's where we were providing value. We're working with BNP Paribas Fortis to create a UX strategy for them, covering all of their products. Oh, so this is one of the cases what we are most proud of. But we're working with small startups. For example, we had a project in Ghent where we were creating basically updated flows with gamification for payment processes to engage better the users. And our last case, what I want to cover a little bit more in detail, that we were working together with TreasureUp by Rabobank for 3 years. And we were creating a design system for them. And what is a design system? Basically, it's a little bit more than a style guide, or much more. And basically, it's a framework, and it have assets, guiding principles to cover everything what they need to create a consistent and strong product. And why do you need a design system? So what is the value of that? First of all, the most value is that it makes your product consistent. It generates trust for your users, and also it speeds up development. So when you have the components ready and the rules ready, it helps you to speed up delivery, and also it helps you to talk with those guys easier, so they understand we have a common language in these processes. And how do you make a design system? Just in a nutshell, first of all, you understand how the processes are happening currently. So how is it going now? Afterwards, you make basically a repository of the current UI elements, what you have to reshape. And when you create guidelines based on these assets and processes, afterwards you try to deploy them quick. And for example, when working with TreasureUp, we saw the results very quick, that it made the processes much easier. And in the case of TreasureUp, like what kind of values or what kind of improvements we have been seen, first of all, the most important thing, it was the end of discussion. So there was no more debates about how to do this process or whether it's a good approach. but we had like the processes defined, and it helped us to create products what the users they liked. So from multiple steps, we could simplify the processes, and we were just running like a survey with TreasureUp customers who were actively using the software, and their engagement and satisfaction has grown significantly. So what's next for us? Like we were closing a successful cooperation first phase with TreasureUp, and with design sprints and other methods, we are helping them to make their product better. And also we are looking forward to other Dutch fintechs to cooperate. So this is our goal, to provide as much value to the community as possible. So thank you very much for your attention. And that was my short intro.
Thank you, Andras. Well, not Andras. Yeah, sorry, I'm curious about, so let's say you work with different countries, with different organizations. What do you see? Is there like a universal UX as you see, or do you actually also see differences per country in the way that people are used to consuming finance, basically?
I think like within Europe, we don't see too much difference between the approaches how people they use financial applications. I think it's mostly the difference between the context, the regulatory environment, or how the processes are done. But the people are relatively same and similar in Europe. The biggest difference we see, for example, in save and invest. So for example, in Western countries and Northern countries, there is more culture for that. And in Eastern Europe or South of Europe, it's more like spending the money than saving it.
Okay, okay. And do you also indeed see, I think that the regulatory requirements might actually require you to sort of screw up your UX with all kinds of difficult questions,
Yes,
right?
it's always the case. It's always
yeah.
the case, just like we try to ease that pain.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's already a good start to make it easy, right, for people. Because I think indeed already, if you connect it to Michiel's story from earlier, right, if you want to democratize finance, sometimes the regulators are actually on the cross path of that, or actually they don't want to democratize it because they think not everyone should invest, right? So that's already a big change in what way you could look at that.
Often, yes.
Are there any questions from the room at the moment already, or from online? Elsa, not yet. Okay.
Hopefully, it was clear enough.
No, it was. It was. I think it was definitely clear enough. And so, so I think. Any question here? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? Sorry. What do you think are the biggest trends in the coming years?
Regarding UX and fintech, you mean? I think like one of the biggest trends is like chatbots and voices coming up. So we are preparing for that, or actually we are actively having those type of projects. So conversational interfaces will take up some of the space. Also, I think in financial level that blockchain and crypto is getting more popular for the users. So we are dealing with that trend as well. And save and invest, I think it will be more in the picture than before.
Yeah. And so do you also see a generational difference there? Because, for example, if you talk about chatbots, are you mostly targeting then also a younger audience, for example, or is that actually also, do you see that across the board that people are getting used to more conversational interfaces?
I think it's at the moment more for younger generation, but I think if we are considering voice, it will be a big help for older generation as well when they understand better how these interfaces work and their security concerns are targeted.
Okay, clear? Yeah, Liz.
So when can a fintech come to you? Like if they're in an accelerator program, are they too early? You're giving some mentoring. What kind of fintech is the right one to, use your services?
Okay. Usually we say that never it's too early. So like the earlier we are involved in the project, we can give the bigger help. So for example, several of the startups where we were mentoring, they were like two guys, they were just having an idea, and now they are like 20, 30 people company. So when we can influence the concept in the early phase and to put the users into the center, it's the earlier the better. So when somebody is coming to us that, hey, we have done the wireframes and everything is cool, you just have to prettify it, it's usually a bit too late. But we can help in every phase, but the bigger impact in the beginning.
All right. Elsa, you've got an online question or something else? No. Okay.
Okay.
So
thank you very much.
No, I have one more. Because I want to touch upon a remark that Hidden made when he said that actually the banking apps in the Netherlands are actually fairly okay. I'm curious about your take on that, right? So I'm not sure if you actually checked the ING or Rabobank or ABN AMRO banking apps. what, let's say, are they actually doing okay from an international perspective or from a user experience perspective, or is there still stuff to improve?
I think like we are checking the Dutch mobile apps quite often. Actually, we have an article about that, what we have written recently in our blog, but our impression that the level is quite varied, but all of them, they are doing the basics relatively well. So for example, I think ING is quite innovative. For example, I just mentioned voice. They were introducing voice, I don't know, like 8-9 years ago, I think maybe first in Europe. So that's pretty advanced. But on the other hand, for example, like we were checking just recently the Rabo application that's less, I don't know, cool or advanced from the visual perspective. But on the other hand, the users, they really like it. So if you check the ratings, that's excellent. So I think in general, like Netherlands is doing well, but always there is up.
Yeah, or it might actually reference also with your audience, right? What they actually expect of you, right? Some might actually expect a completely hip and cool up to standard, and others might just need basic functionality and just want nothing more than that.
Yes, exactly. So sometimes like when the basics are working well, like you don't need that to be that cool, but
yeah,
it depends on the situation.
Exactly. Well, cool. Well, thanks a lot for sharing, Andras. Give him a big hand, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Don.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. So please indeed go to Menti to check out what you thought of Andras' story, to compare it all with the other ones, and then later we'll be back with you to actually give a rating and figure out who was the best one of today. And while you contemplate about that, I want to give the floor to Allard to tell us a little bit about Techstars program.
Hey guys.
Go ahead.
Good to see you all. I did have a slide that I sent to the events page. Can we still put that up? No worries, no worries. So no, I was also just sent it now. All right, guys. Well, start again. So good to be here. A few familiar faces. I'm Allard Luchsinger. I was a fintech founder, and then I spent 10 years as an investor. Velocity, you might know it, a fintech investor here out of the Netherlands. And a month ago, I joined Techstars to lead their Future of Finance Accelerator program that runs from here in Amsterdam, together with ABN AMRO Bank. So what do? It's an accelerator program that actually runs from September to December. And we focus on kind of early stage seed, as most accelerators do, at the intersection of fintech and sustainability and digital assets. So mainly Europe. So if you are from Africa, we like you to apply, but we are really, for the rest of the world, it gets a bit harder, but we really like European fintech sustainability companies. And who should apply? Well, if you think that partnering with a big bank, and ABN AMRO is really serious about this, is interesting. If you are interested in a really amazing group of mentors, a lot came with us from the program that ran for 10 years in the UK with Barclays. And if you're interested in making a year's progress, basically in 3 months, then please apply. We have till the 11th of May, the applications are open. The program starts in September, and we really love to hear from you. Now, does it work in Accelerator? We think it does. So last year we had a good group of companies. A good number of them are now, about half are actually partnering with ABN AMRO in pilot projects. And one of the companies will tell us next week, will tell the world next week, that they raised a double-digit funding round just a year, less than a year out of our program. So this is the second year. This year will actually be in person. Yay. So Amsterdam, of course, as we all know, is a fantastic city to be. And I'm so happy to be back with you all here again, live. Thank you, Don. Thank you also for the great work you do yesterday with Ukraine. I really thought that was amazing. We have a fintech ecosystem that is going really great and could be even better. And we really hope to add to that in the coming years, starting with our program this year. Thank you so much. And please, we are here, and this is Nathalie. She's our program manager. Come talk to us, come find us online. Techstars Amsterdam, you'll find us. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Allard. Let's give him a hand. I saw one question here.
So I have two questions actually. One is, what about privacy, GDPR type of companies, or ALM, KYC? Are those of interest or not really?
Absolutely. Yes, that's clearly in the field, super interesting for us and fintech, also for my background and also for the bank. So clearly in focus. Yes.
And do you take equity?
Yes, we do. Yes, the deal is 6% equity. For that, you get a full program. And you also get some pocket money, 20,000, to make sure that you can come to Amsterdam and live. And you also get access to a convertible loan of 100,000 euros if you choose to take that. You don't have to.
But I mean, that 6%, is that connected to this 100,000 or not?
No, that's a convertible loan, which will convert at the value that the next round will set. Yeah, so that's extra. So you don't have to take
the 6% is connected to the 20K.
And the program.
And yeah,
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks. Are there any other questions at the moment? Nice you're here as well, Natalie. And indeed, if everyone have any other questions, I think it definitely.
Thank you.
Let's go to you. Thank you, Allard. And I think indeed a great addition to the ecosystem here, to have another accelerator. I think with a strong commitment from a bank to actually move fintech forward and collaborate. I think that's definitely very valuable. So thanks for that. Then I think it's time for our great reveal of the pitch of the day.
Yes.
Yes.
We would like to congratulate bots.
Okay. Michiel, well done. Bots did it. Well done. Come forward. Here you go. Well, what goes through you at the moment? Well, what do you feel?
It's a dream come true. It's a dream come. I like to thank my.
No, well done.
Great. I'm always happy with winning a prize.
No, exactly. So we'll definitely.
It's actually on.
Yeah, it's on. It's on. We don't get a lot of feedback here, but it's on. No, so it's really great. I think. So thank you for indeed sharing your story. And
I already made a sweater.
Exactly. I think you're good. I think it was the sweater that dated. Yeah. I think it's hard to ignore while you're watching your pitch. So.
Well, thank you very much. Voting on me.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you indeed. Also in the audience, and of course also at home for voting and enjoying as well our event today. So thanks, Michiel. I think we just do a couple of things to wrap up, and then we're ready for drinks. Let's see. Yes, our next events that are upcoming. Just good to know. We've got a next meetup in May where we will be collaborating with Startup Bootcamp and Iconic. Definitely interesting. So that's on the second Friday of May. Other events in April that are worthwhile are the banking scene event next week, the Paris Blockchain Week Summit, and the Global InsurTech Summit are also coming up. One thing I also want to know that we announced also this week that the Amsterdam FinTech Week will be from the 9th to the 16th of September. So definitely also block that in your calendar. We already heard that we're going to get a nice UX workshop, UX meetup as well from, for example, Argomenia. And so we're inviting everyone actually to come up with ideas for events that you want to organize. We're going to do a 2-day summit during the week. So we actually want to make sure everyone comes at the same place at the same time at some point. But for the rest, we have a whole week that's open for any crazy idea, from putting people up a boat to renting out a roof terrace somewhere, or rent out a carnival somewhere. It doesn't really matter. If you think it's a good way to engage and have fun together, we're open for it, and we'll happily support you to market it, get an audience, and make sure that we can enjoy it together. I think we should leave it at that. Just checking in with Elsa's son. Oh yeah, a question. Yeah. Okay. Okay, 19 to 26, Amsterdam Blockchain Week. Okay, yeah, so good to check that out. We'll also indeed make sure that we'll publish that as well on our website, Amsterdam Blockchain Week, 19 to 26 of April. Thanks for adding that. Anything else? What? Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. So final question indeed in the Menti. If you would all just briefly take up some time to give us some final feedback on what you thought about the event today. We're also still learning, right? We'd like to improve. So any kind of feedback, good or bad, please get it our way so we can actually even do better next time. And I think after that, I'm looking behind the screen. Any further messages? No? then we'll leave it at this. Thank you very much for joining us today. Online, I hope you have a great weekend already. And here, of course, we're going to go to drinks and enjoy ourselves a little bit before we head into the weekend. Thank you and see you soon.